Hey foodie friends, so today we are going to make some Cuban sliders with my delicious mojo pork, or what I call my mojo pork. So let's get saucy. All right, foodie friends, so like I said, I have here my version of a mojo pork. Now, I'm not saying this is exactly the classic version of mojo pork. This is just how I do it. It's what I call mojo pork. It's garlicky, it's citrusy. So let me show you what I did with that. I took about a 3 pound, a little more than 3 pound pork butt or pork shoulder piece and popped that into my slow cooker, my crock pot. And I added into that a can of mandarin oranges. You can do orange juice or canned oranges, whatever you like, whatever you want to use. But I like the canned oranges because it adds a little bit of sweetness with that light syrup that's in there too. So those go in. I also added in the juice of 4 limes, and then I just threw the whole limes in there too. Now, this is gonna lend a little bit of bitterness to the sauce. So if you don't want that, then just leave those out, just put the juice in. We're also gonna put in a big handful of garlic cloves, a couple of bay leaves, and then we're gonna season it up with some cumin and some oregano, and of course some salt and pepper. And now off camera, I didn't think that was quite enough liquid, so I did take my mandarin orange can and just filled it up with water and added a little chicken bouillon to it and threw that in there too, so it just had some more liquid to braise in. So I leave that on low overnight on my crock pot. You could do this all in one day by just starting this off in the morning and doing it on high in your crock pot, like, I don't know, say 4, 5, maybe 6 hours, just until it gets cooked through and really nice and tender and falling apart. So overnight, good for me. And then come back the next morning, I went ahead and I popped that in the fridge so that so it could cool down, and that fat on top will set up a little bit so it's easier to get that off of there. So now we're gonna take our pork butt out, and I'm gonna put it in a bowl to the side and then go work on the sauce. So we're gonna just pull the limes out of there and skim off all the fat from the top. And then I'm gonna place that into the saucepan and put it on the stove and let that reduce. So while that's working on reducing, we'll go back to our pork, and we're gonna go ahead and take off that layer of fat, that fat cap from the top, and start to pull the pork apart, shred the pork up. So as we do that, we want to make sure that we get any of that connective tissue or other large pieces of fat that are in throughout the pork, because it's a nice, well-marbled piece of pork. We want to get all of that out because we don't want big pieces of fat in our sandwich, right? So that's good. We'll go back to our sauce and we'll stir that while it's reducing to help it kind of boil a little faster and get it reduced down. Now we're going to reduce this way, way down. So I think, you could see when I poured it into the pan, it had like, 3/4 of the pan full. So we're going to reduce this way down to like a half a cup. Okay. And so once that's reduced down, we're going to pour it into a heat proof bowl or measuring cup. What I use a measuring cup here that I have zested 4 limes in and a bunch of garlic cloves. I think I used about 15 garlic cloves in here just because mine were kind of small. So if you have larger ones, you could use less, or if you don't like garlic as much as I do, you could also use less. Again, like I said in my last video, I might judge you if you pull back on the garlic too much, but it's up to you. So we're gonna then pour that over the pork and mix it in, and then we have our pork ready to go. So we're just gonna build our sliders. This is super quick and easy. I have some Hawaiian rolls here, you can see, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave them all in one piece, but I'm gonna slice them in half crossways here. I'm just trying to do this as evenly as possible. It's can be a little bit of a challenge, but I think we've got a good even slice here. All right. Set this top over here. And then I've got a small quarter sheet pan here. You could do this in a 9x13 or a 7x11. I want to do it in this just so that it's going to be easier to kind of get these off of here when I take them out of the oven. So I'm going to butter the bottom of this. I've got some melted butter here that I'm going to brush on the top too. So I'm just going to brush some butter on the bottom of this, and then go ahead and put the bottom of our buns here, and we will start building our sliders. So super simple and easy. I'm sure you've had a Cuban sandwich before. Mustard explosion. I'm sure you've had a Cuban sandwich before. So mustard, Swiss cheese, sliced ham, and usually roasted pork. I like to do this Mojo pork because it has so much flavor and it's really it adds a little bit of moisture. It's not like, doesn't make the sandwiches soggy, but it's just so much more flavorful than just a roasted pork. So this is kind of why I like to do that. I mean, if you want to do just roasted pork, absolutely go ahead, do what you like. But this shredded pork that I make is delicious on here. So I like a good bit of mustard on here too. I don't want it to, I want to really taste that mustard on here. So you could use Dijon. I'm just using a yellow mustard. If you like Dijon, you could definitely use that. And, you could even do a little bit of mayonnaise as well if you like. I just like the mustard on here. So we've got our mustard on there now. And I'm going to go in with my ham. So I'm going to lay, I don't know, looks like we're going to need maybe 4 slices of ham. Well, maybe a little bit more than that. They're kind of overlap a little bit. And make a little layer, a nice even layer. Or not even because they're overlapping, but a nice layer of ham on here. I might do another layer this way. Yeah, like 3 more this way. Just get a lot of meat on there. I mean, it's a sandwich, right? So next we're gonna go with our cheese, and I have a Swiss cheese here. This is 7 ounces, 7-ounce package, so that's about 11 slices. I'm gonna do, so what do we have here? 4 or 5 slices here. And then on top of that, I'm going to add our pork. So I'm gonna just add this on, and I'm gonna kind of smush it down into an even layer. And I like a lot of cheese on here, so I'm gonna add another layer of cheese after this. That's also gonna kind of help everything really hold together. So once we get a nice even layer of this pork, and of course there's going to be some of this pork left over, and this pork is great to use for quesadillas. It's great to obviously make sandwiches out of, but it also freezes really well, so I might freeze it and hold on to it for a little later date. So here we've got our delicious pork on there in a nice layer. Everybody's got a bit of pork on every one of these rolls. And the next thing we're going to add on is our pickles. So again, Cuban sandwich always has pickles on it. So I've got some dill pickles here. I've got slices, long slices. You could use chips, whatever you have again. But I like these. And I'm gonna lay like 3 or 4. Just want them spread nicely across here, just so each sandwich will make sure it has a piece of pickle when we cut them. So lay these on, and then I won't use that one. And then I'm going to come back in with another layer of cheese, because why not? So another layer of cheese here. Oh, and look at that. There's conveniently 1 slice left for me to snack on. So, all right, cheese here. And then I am actually going to go ahead and put some more mustard on the top too. Like I said, I like the mustard. I like to be able to really get that mustard. So a little more mustard on the top here. All right, so these are going to then, I've already got my oven preheated at 350 degrees. So I'm going to pop these in the oven. I'm going to cover them with some foil. Well, first I'm going to brush some more butter on the tops. That'll help keep the foil from sticking. And then when we remove the foil, it'll help them to brown up really nicely and get kind of crispy on the top. So these are going to go in the oven covered first for about 20 minutes, just to warm everything up through and get the cheese melted. And then we will uncover them and we will pop them back in for another like 5 to 7 minutes or so, just to get them kind of browned up and crunchy on the top. So I'm going to brush this butter on here. I'm just using plain butter here. You could add some herbs to this. You could put some garlic powder in it. I am going to sprinkle just a little bit of salt on the top because this is unsalted butter. So I want to get a little bit more flavor just to the top of my buns. So just a light sprinkling of salt on the top here. And like I said, wrap these up with aluminum foil. We're going to pop them in the oven for about 20 minutes. And when we come back, after that 20 minutes is up, we will take the cover off and then give them, like I said, another 5 to 7 minutes to get nice and golden brown on top. So, all right, foodie friends, we are back and our sliders are out of the oven. Beautiful golden brown on top. I don't know if you can hear that little crispy. They're nice and crisp on top. So I let them cool for, I don't know, 3-5 minutes just to make sure they're not too hot. And I'm gonna go ahead and slide them off onto my cutting board here, and we'll cut some of them up. Nice serrated knife so that they cut nicely. And look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? Oh, it's really juicy. The juices are dripping off all over my hand. So, all right, moment of truth time. Here we go. So delicious. The tang from the mustard, that pork with the citrus and the garlic and the ham, the cheese, the melty cheese. It's absolutely delicious. That dill pickle in there. Guys, these would be great. The Super Bowl's coming up. Perfect for the Super Bowl party. There was enough of that pork to probably make 3 of these. So you just need a little bit more ham and a little bit more cheese. But again, like I said, that pork also freezes really well. So pop it in the freezer, use it whenever. All right, guys. Thanks as always for joining me here on Getting Saucy with Chef Lynn. You'll find a link to the full written recipe in the description box below. You can follow me across all social media at Chef Lynn Wheeler. My website where the recipe will be, cheflynnwheeler.com. If you're in the Central Florida area, you can also use that to book me for events, catering, personal chef jobs, stuff like that. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. So good.